Hey guys, this is Eric Wenger with Wenger Racing. This video editing is going to suck because it's right now 11:40 and I'm just now trying to get this video out. I have actually other stuff recorded, I just haven't, it's going to take too long to put it all together. And I really thought I should address this anyway. One, thanks for watching. And this may be long-winded and I'm sorry if that's not what you're into, but you need to understand this. Because I don't know if people are saying it out loud enough, but it needs to be said. This week, I haven't had as many phone calls as usual, which in a way for me, it's a blessing, kind of, because I can get more work done. However, of the phone calls that keep happening, only 2 really have resulted in anything. And like, so what? That's the business. No, the vast majority of phone calls this week have been, do you have this head in stock? And it's varied, every single one. From a Brodix Headhunter for a small block 4, Dragon Slayer, any AFR head, pretty much any head. And the answer to that is always, so far, is no. I have a bunch of heads here, I really do. But they're all accounted for different customers. In other words, these customers paid a deposit months and months ago, and finally the head showed up and they're just in line to get ported. I have no inventory. I thought about maybe trying, but I gave up. So people have been calling me nonstop about, do you have this head or this head? And the answer is no. And you are not going to find it most places. And I'm being honest with you, and I think it needs to be said. You could blame COVID, you could blame the war in Ukraine, you could blame the president, you could blame whatever you want, but the situation is what it is. There are no heads that are available besides heads you don't want. There's some that will come in sporadically, and it's almost like people when they had the Xbox One X or the PlayStation 5, where people would just gobble them up as fast as possible. And I think some dealers are buying up as much inventory that's out there as soon as it comes so that they can upcharge. If cylinder head porters like myself and others work like the people that did the PlayStation 5, you guys would be paying astronomical amounts of money for this. I have to say our industry in general is pretty good. Instead, we are all about whoring the market. In other words, if someone gets a whole bunch of heads, they put them out and might not make that much on them, and they'll undercut someone else that's selling them. And that's how our industry seems to work. They can't explain it. But I want to be as open, as honest as I can on this video. The prices for stuff has gone from, well, it's a little price increase, to plumb stupid, plumb ridiculous. And it's very hard to run a business the way things are. And I'm going to tell you how much I pay for certain heads, and hopefully it doesn't get me in trouble. And just so you can get an idea of how much money is actually not being made on these heads. So I'm going to say, I'm going to leave off the brand names, but if you're smart, you can figure it out. There's a head that I sell that's a real popular small block head made in America. And it's probably my most popular one. That core cost me $1,050. And that one has CNC chambers. So maybe you could figure it out from there. It cost me $1,050, and it's about $58 to ship to me. So all totaled, I'm into it $1,108. Now, a valve train kit for that is about $600. So now I'm at $1,708. This is an as-cast head. That head, if I'm lucky, I will be able to sell for $1,900 and make $200. Now, that sounds like, wow, you still made $200. Yeah, but if you realize the amount of time and phone calls you have to make when you purchase those heads, because the customer's going to ask 4 months later, where's my heads? And I have to call the company and be like, where's my heads? And they're going to give me the runaround, or they won't get back to me, and I look like a jackass to the customer because the manufacturer didn't get back to me. There's another brand of heads that I sell a lot of, and they're full CNC ported. And my cost on those is about $1,900. So that's a symbol though. Those retail, so because people whore that market way up, those retail for about $21. So again, making $200. However, they come in a much heavier box and the shipping kind of eats that away. So even though the head might cost me $1,900 or so, the shipping's about $100. So in the end, I make $100. Now, why am I telling you this? Because what some of the companies have started doing this week, and it's driving me right up the wall, is since COVID has started, they've had price increases. For instance, Brodix has had, I don't know, like 4. And they came out, they sent me a brand new price sheet last week, which you might as well just throw in the trash, because that price sheet doesn't include the materials, and this is not the only company that does it. They charge you a materials and surcharge fee. So you have your base price of the heads, then the materials and surcharge fee, which who knows what that is? The only way to do is a call, so you can waste about 45 minutes or so trying to get a hold of someone or get someone to answer. Well, actually, they're pretty good about answering, but you're going to waste some time calling them to find out what it's charging for materials and surcharge today, which won't matter anyway, because even if you asked them and they told you, they will charge you what it is when the heads ship. So let's say, because this has burned me now, several of the heads now I have sold, I could have just kept $20 and not sold the heads. Because several of them I ordered like in October. And back then the price was less, obviously. And they didn't have the materials and surcharge on the heads, didn't charge that fee. Well, finally they get to me like last week or last month, and materials and surcharge fees on there. And then not only that, it's a price increase. So here's what I've done, because this is the way I operate my business. When a customer calls and wants to buy a set of heads, I will tell them what the price is. And that price, if they pay a deposit, it's locked in. It is what it is. Because to me, that seems fair. If I say, I'm going to sell you this for this amount of money, when I finish it, I'm not going to make it this amount of money. So I've locked in the price. Dumb me as a businessman, I guess. So then when I order the heads, I know how much money I should make from all this, what that is. But then when you get to the end and the heads actually show up and you found out that you just lost $300-400 from what it was when you ordered. I mean, you ordered, then all of a sudden charge for them to ship it. And you get it and you're like, man, is there a mistake? They're like, no, it's a material surcharge fee. Like, well, I ordered it before they had that. It goes on everything that goes out. And by the way, don't think I'm blaming that company, because they're not the only company that does it. Comp Cams does it on the cams, and many other companies are starting to do it as well. And it's not just our industry. Every other industry is doing it too. And I don't really blame them, because if you look at it from their standpoint too, they're like, look, I ordered all this aluminum to make heads, and now next month it's way more, and it's taking me longer to make your heads, so whatever. So we're losing money too. And we're just trying to pass it on. But then the problem with them passing it on, because they've got to make money, is it usually the last person gets screwed, and that happens to me. So in those cases, I end up not making a dime. Well, this week, they started charging a credit card fee. And I know you're thinking, well, you do, because if you heard my hate to do business rant, not really hate to do business, but things you should learn about doing business, you will see that I charge a credit card fee, because credit cards charge companies every time you use it. Every single time. They have pimped our system ridiculously. And anyway, point being is, whenever a customer orders, I tell them, hey, this is a credit card fee, and you don't have to pay it. You can just give me a check. No problem. So when they order it, it's made aware. Me, on the other hand, besides all those price increase, material surcharge, you get to the end and now all of a sudden, which didn't happen before, credit card fee now, wasn't there before. So it wouldn't be, if it was just that, it'd be like, no big deal, I'll just, whatever. It's adding up. So I have now there's been 4 jobs that I know of for sure that if I break even, I'm doing great. So I will work for a week on a set of heads, porting the heads, And when all's said and done, I'll be lucky if I break even. And you're like, well, you should have charged more. Well, at the time, I thought I have built in what I should make to make money. And now I'm not. Being the last guy in the chain sucks. So besides dealing with that, so the whole point of this video is there are no heads available unless it's heads you really don't want. There might be, I should, with a little caveat, asterisk here, there might be some, but it's rare. This doesn't mean you can't order from me, because you're more than welcome to order from me. And I'll tell you, it's about a 4 to 5 month wait on most heads. Some will be longer and some do not have an ETA. For instance, I used to order a bunch of profiler heads and I get them from PBM. You have to be a dealer to get them from there, so don't try. PBM used to always have them in stock. Last I checked about a week ago, they had 0 in stock. So unlike other places where you call up and get an ETA, they have no ETA, which means they have no idea when those heads will show up. So the problem with selling a customer a set of those heads is I hate selling them without even an estimated time when they'll be done. At least with Brodix and AFR, you've got about an idea because they'll give you an estimate of when they'll be done. And they're about that. It might vary a few weeks. No ETA thing sucks. Speaking of price increases, profilers, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, that head I used to get for $360 a piece bare. So that's like, what is that, $720 bare, which to me seems pretty fair price because it's NASCAST head. There's no CNC bowl band, no CNC nothing else. So that seems fair. No, they jacked their prices ungodly. They almost doubled them. So right now, I think when I was looking at it the other day, it was like went from that price to like almost $980 for a pair, almost $1,000 now for a pair. So I mean, I shouldn't say double, but it's up 50% almost. By the time you get the valve trainings higher, and no ETA, which I don't blame them for doing that either. Don't think I'm mad at Profiler for doing it. I mean, look what they're doing. Clearly, they're behind on production because they don't have any. So if you want to slow down production, raise prices. I mean, after all, people are wanting them. Supply versus demand. But from a consumer standpoint, because I must be the only business person that actually looks out for the consumer about what they're actually going to pay. It sucks. And I also know this is eventually going to be a tipping point where people are like, you know what? I am tired of spending on this. I'm spending. I mean, this race car stuff's expensive anyway. This is next level within this last year. And I really thought it would calm down. No. Eventually people are just going to be like, I'm fed up. The gas prices are too high. Engine parts are too high. And they're shittier, which they are. So not only are you paying more for the heads, but they are, or any part for that matter, they are worse quality. What used to be top-notch quality for a piece you pay high-end for, now you pay high-end price for and for less quality. It sucks. Sucks. But as a consumer standpoint, I'm afraid at some point they're going to just be like, you know what? I'm done. You know, I could probably fix my house up cheaper than this. You know what? Or I can go on a different vacation or something. So if you're worried about racing, don't worry about the electric car right now. That ain't the problem. Worry about the prices for race car parts and all of it, because that's going to drive them off of it before an electric car ever does. I'm just straight up honest. It's just how it is right now. And to make matters worse, today I heard that Race Winning Brands has announced a 8% price increase on their products. For those that don't know who Race Winning Brands are, they're a private equity group that owns a bunch of race car parts. Best way I could describe it is you could think of a private equity group as a group of people that want to make a ton of money, and they buy companies and suck the resources right out of the company. So you really get crappy products, it seems like, or if you get them, because so far everything that Race Winning Brands has ever bought, the production pretty much has stopped or slowed down to crawling pace. You might say, well, what did they buy? Dart. Can't get anything from Dart. Diamond Pistons. It seems like their wait time's worse now too. JE Pistons. same thing, which JE also has SRP. Wiseco pistons. So there's 3 piston brands. It's almost like they're trying to corner the market there. Let's see what else. They own Victory Valves for the titanium. That's where I get all my titanium valves. Zelodyne. They just bought Pack Springs, which is really important for my stuff. So that means that's up by 8%. So they're raising all their prices for their stuff. And they're still buying. They're buying like everything they can get their hands on. I mean, because right now it's like a money grab. It's an easy thing to do. And suck the company dry and it's gone. The other thing that makes me scared about the whole race car industry thing itself is, if you look at where most of these companies started, it was like me. 1 person or 2 persons in a small garage, in a shop, and then they grew into a manufacturing facility. The idea of that happening now seems ridiculous. There's no way a company like myself, without a huge investment of capital, which then is private equity, could invest and manufacture stuff that would be a growing business. So like, for instance, Dart, he started in his garage and they end up making stuff. To do that now, you'd have to have been wealthy to start off with. And let's face it, most racers that do the stuff like I do are not wealthy. They did not come from wealth. Same with like cam grinders. Like look at Ed Escuderian when he started his company with Isky Cams. It's all that way. They started back in the day when it wasn't so much to start it up. I mean, it might have cost a lot, but nothing compared to today's money. So once these private equities buy these companies and suck the resources out of them, they die. They're not going to be replaced. And that kills the company. And the racing itself. Anyway, I bet you this video is longer than it should have been. Point is, no, I don't have any heads available. You can order whatever you want from me. So I'm a dealer for just about everything. So you can order whatever you want, as long as you don't mind waiting. And right now, you don't have a choice. There ain't nothing. Second, everything is costing more. I've raised my prices stupid high because now I'm just trying to gamble on what the price will actually be when I get the stuff, so that I can actually make money, because I do have bills to pay. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Oh yeah, like my chair. It's for one in the shop. My last one I grind. By the way, I grind sitting down. You guys that do it standing up, hell no. That's too much work on my knees. I grind sitting down, it's so much easier. But inevitably the chair ends up going from like you're doing great and all of a sudden, bam, racks you backwards or tilts way over. Walmart, baby. Anyway, you guys take care.